Good evening. Thank you all for coming here tonight. It is a privilege and honor to welcome you here to Mission Workshop for the first of what we hope is going to be maybe an ongoing series of what we're calling Founders Events. This is put together by Mission and Bike Magazine. I'm Terry Gross. This is Fresh Air. Screwed it up already. My name is Mike Ferrantino. I'm part of the furniture at Bike Magazine. We've been around for about 20 years, and our whole thing has been trying to tell stories about mountain biking through images, through words, trying to capture some sense of what the sport of mountain biking is, who the people are, what the stories are being told. The man who I'm about to introduce has been involved in the sport since its birth. He has OG status. He apprenticed beneath Charlie Cunningham and Joe Breeze. If you look at like the old washed out Wendy Cragg images from the very beginning of the sport, when you'd see people standing on their clunkers atop Pearl Pass, there'd be this skinny bearded freak grinning a little bit harder than all the rest. And he founded Ibis Cycles in 1981 with Scot Nicol.
So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk a little bit about the history, about how we started and some of the early days, and then I'm going to bring up some of the people that helped us during our formative years, and we're going to open it to questions when people feel like it. Away. So this is me on Mount Diablo. I grew up over in Walnut Creek, and this is me on Mount Diablo on Ibis number 7 back in. This is somewhere late '81, early '82. It's winter, so maybe early 1982. But I'm wearing my Breezer T-shirt, and as Mike mentioned, big old beard, which I seem to be, you know, they're back now, obviously. But yeah, that's like way before helmets or you know, I'm wearing Levi's, obviously, and this was that's the real deal back then. So yeah, that's Ibis number 7, and I really enjoyed sliding sideways on bikes. That was a really fun thing that I did in the halls of my high school over there. Those smooth concrete floors.
Why orange?
That is a very good question. No, I think you just need to ask the designers of these shirts. You know, what's up with that? We've had orange bikes pretty often, and some of the old Eddie Merckx raced on a beautiful orange bike, and I think for me a lot of that was just like, because he was my hero, you know, and so like I think probably a lot of the orange came from that. Just remember seeing those beautiful you know, bikes that he was racing on. Plus you got to mix it up, and you know, orange definitely stands out. So you know, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, it's pretty impressive, right? And so I said, okay, time out. You know, I really thought that he was going to finish this thing, and I said, Nick, you know, what's your day job? And so all he did was he sent me a picture. He said, well, here's the last thing I built, and this is pretty impressive. Nick was the lead fabricator on Cloudgate, which is Anish Kapoor's sculpture in Chicago.
And I thought about it for a little bit, and I realized I had these big tractor tires sitting out back, and that someone was getting rid of. They had asked me if I wanted these, and I was like, wow, I mean, I gotta have these. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but I gotta have them. And they sat around for a year or so. And then as I thought about this project for signage, I realized, okay, I got the wheels. I just need to build a frame. And, I mean, what else am I going to build? I'm riding a Mojo. I love the bike. It's a beautiful bike. Well, I'll just make it bigger. I don't know that that makes it better, but I'll make it bigger.
If you had the power to change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
The power to change one thing about the industry, what would it be? Wow. Maybe we should come back to that question. I need
take that
to think,
offline.
Or in a minute. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be hard to single out one thing. There'd be a lot of things to change.
Forever. Budweiser slivers.
With a pop top. These were in the calendar.
Exactly.
Yeah. How beautiful are those, huh? Pop top.
Were you ever kept up all night thinking, why did I do that? Please let me turn back time.
I have
Big
to
or
say, Mike, when we were talking before before this event, he sort of asked me a similar question. Like what are my regrets? And honestly, I don't have. I'm pretty happy with where Ibis is and where I am and the life that I have, and I actually tend to sleep pretty well at night. There's not a lot of those freakouts. So no, I haven't really. Probably the darkest moments were after I sold the company. That and things weren't going well. That was not good. But in hindsight, at least from my standpoint now, it's one of the better things that's happened because we're in, the company's really doing really well right now. So that was probably the single kind of darkest point name yet. But anyway, now we're down in Santa Cruz, and Roxy is one of the partners in the company, along with Hans Heim, Tom Morgan, and our engineer Colin Hughes. So we have a super wonderful team now, all working together. And I'll tell you, I've honestly never been more excited about what's happening and what's going to be happening. The Ripley came out. There's a bunch of other new stuff that hopefully Roxy's not going to show you. No, I'm just kidding. No.
So when I started with Ibis, I was still working at Pottery Barn, and I don't know if you know that, but I was the designer there for Pottery Barn Kids, and I actually met Cheryl through that job.
Random small world.
Random small world.
Yeah.
I was designing kids' products, and so there were stuffed bunnies and dollhouses and containers and bags, and the technical stuff is part of it, but I like to do the hands-on sculptural stuff. And coming from sketches and ideation, this was actually like 4 or 5 models in. This was actually to check clearance for parts. But we could pass that around. But essentially, it's
really cool.
It's foam and it's CNC'd, and then
little jigsaw.
Yeah,
put together.
It was like too big in the machine because people don't usually make whole bike frames out of foam.
Yeah. What was the idea behind the Mojo HD, and did that coincide with Brian Lopes' relationship with you guys?
The Mojo HD is a 160 millimeter travel bike. It's the Mojo that came out in 2005 is 140 millimeter travel, and we, what we do is a lot of us on staff ride and do a lot of racing. Our sales guy Jeff just raced in that first California Enduro Series and won it. And he's just a desk jockey. I mean, not just a desk jockey. He has a day job. He's not a professional racer. And so I hate it when companies say, "Oh, we all ride." It's like, of course everybody rides. You're in the bike industry. That's why you're here. You're not here to answer your question, Morgan. We're not here for the for the Benjamins. I don't drive an Aston Martin. So we ride we build what we want to ride, and so the HD was just the next obvious place for us to go after the Mojo. We know that the market, everyone wants us to build a downhill bike, but the market is we can't really do it. We can't justify it with our, with the focus that we need to keep on developing the products. We have to choose something that we're, the Mojo costs $500,000 to develop. It's an expensive bike, and for a little tiny company, we gambled the entire company on the Mojo. So we have to be really confident that what we're doing is going to work. So we knew that the HD was going to be fertile ground for really robust sales. Our best-selling bike, right now until, the numbers of the Ripley come up. But it actually probably is what one of the things that kind of brought Brian to, our attention to Brian. And, because they approached us. We didn't, he approached us. And also, so did Anne-Caroline Chasson, who races for us. So for those of you who don't know, we have this woman named Anne-Caroline Chasson racing, and she's the best downhiller in history. She's won 55 World Cup races. And the second winningest World Cup racer is Brian Lopes at 26. So we've got the two winningest World Cup racers. Little old Ibis, has the two winningest World Cup racers ever.
I'm just curious if all the bikes now are, all the future bikes will be purely carbon. And when you talked about this process of designing the bikes and this tangibility, and now everything's in the computer, and these are really nice to see, but is there any tinkering with steel frames and the old school style of bike building? And do you miss that?
I don't really miss it, but there's definitely the Ripley. We have this carbon fiber hardtail called a tranny, and we converted that into the test mule. And so the mule was this bike that where we proved the eccentric concept. And so there's a lot of that kind of fabrication. And then, it's like Roxy's work starts out as hand gestural drawings. It doesn't come from the computer. It only goes into the computer once she's got her shapes where she wants them. And that's the way Cheryl, my wife, does her work too. She does it by hand because it's difficult to get that, that look directly out of the computer. So those, we used to, the paradigm is kind of been form follows function, and we're sort of subverting that now and going into, really trying to get the form of the bike first, and then we build in, literally we give Roxy a set of dots. We say, here's the suspension points, here's the axles, here's where the head angle is, here's the top of the seat tube, here's the BB. And that's what we give her, and then we say connect the dots. And that's when, she has her cheat sheet of learning what a top tube is and all that. I mean, that is how it started back then, which was exactly what we wanted. We wanted that naivety, and the Mojo turned the industry on its ear. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. So we accomplished exactly what we wanted to by building that bike. You can come and see Roxy, working on her little projects and sanding things, and so yeah, it's gone to a very different place. It's a very different type of building. But I kind of look at it like you look at like musical artists. They evolve their careers, and some people really want them to stay where I want to hear that, that original Joni Mitchell, not that jazzy Joni Mitchell or whoever it is. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself there, but, I think we look at it also as an evolution, and we really, carbon fiber is a phenomenal material, and that's all we're building out of now. I'm not saying that we won't diverge and go do more tie bikes or aluminum or steel or something like that. We talk about it. Actually, we'd love to, but we're trying to keep a really strong focus. And we recently doubled the size of our engineering department. We have 2 people now, so we don't, there's not a lot of throughput with a tiny crew. There's about 14 people at Ibis, and we don't want it to be bigger. And we get a lot done. We're a really lean company, and we sell to 40 different countries. We have 40 distributors all over the world. So, sometimes we act like a big company with all our, distributors and worldwide, domination. But we're tiny. We're little, and we want to keep it that way because we value, we value that, our lifestyle, and we want to be able to ride our bikes and not be completely taken over by it. We have a pretty good history of advocacy at Ibis. We really, we like riding bikes, even though I don't like to say that we like it because it's obvious. So we like riding bikes. We've raised a lot of money for different groups. The Sierra Buttes Trail Stewardship, probably some of you know, up in Downeyville, they do great work. And yeah, we recently helped out this Pogo Up Trail. And by the way, of course I haven't ridden it, but if you guys ever get a chance, it's one of the most incredible trails you'll ever ride. I actually have ridden it, even though it's closed. So it's this new trail that was built down in Santa Cruz that was it's phenomenal. And we've collaborated with them and helped, given some money for a bridge. And so what we're doing now is we've announced 2 days ago that we are giving away either a Ripley or a Mojo HD to a random person chosen on May 1st. And what we're doing is we're getting people to buy little chunks of this new trail that's happening in Demo Forest, which is the Soquel Demonstration State Forest down there. And there's an old logged out area that the State Forest has given mountain bikers of Santa Cruz permission to build a flow trail. So one of those really cool, like bermed up, super fun trails. And so we are selling $5 raffle tickets at the Santa Cruz Mountain Bike Festival tomorrow and Sea Otter next week, and then online until May 1st. And we're going to try to help them raise a little bit of money to get that trail built.
All right, well, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yay.